Thanks, Grail. Good evening, everyone. I'd just like to start off by saying a few words to recognize one of our former colleagues and friends. It's with deep sorrow that we share the news of the passing of our former colleague and friend, Rob Zveer. Rob was an integral part of the Nanaimo Ladysmith Public Schools, leaving an indelible mark through his dedicated service and unwavering commitment. Rob's legacy is synonymous with the tireless efforts within CUPE Local 606, serving as members for over 27 years as president, vice president, and shop steward. Rob was a fierce advocate for the members of his union, dedicating himself to ensuring their rights and well-being. Rob actively participated in our business committee meetings, contributing valuable insights and perspectives. His dedication to the betterment of Nanaimo Ladysmith Public Schools was evident in every meeting he attended. He served in Nanaimo Ladysmith Public Schools for over 33 years in various roles, including maintenance service caretaker, stores keeper, and caretaker. Upon his retirement, Rob left behind a legacy of teamwork and achievements. His retirement plans were a testament to his generous spirit, accompanying a desire to spending time with family and friends, golf, travel, and a commitment to helping others. Let us remember Rob for the warmth, dedication, and camaraderie he brought to our lives. Our thoughts and deepest condolences go out to his family, his CUPE friends, and all of those who had the privilege of working alongside of him. We will cherish the memories of Rob and the impacts he made on Nanaimo Ladysmith Public Schools. There will be a celebration of life for Rob on Saturday, March 9th at Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 256 on East Wellington Road from 3:30 to 7:30 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order. It's with great respect and humility that we acknowledge and honor the lands of the Snuneymuxw people. The Snuneymuxw people maintain their profound, unique, and spiritual connections to the land through ageless traditions, teachings, stewardship, and expressions of reciprocity. We have no items to transfer to open agenda this evening. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes in order? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Mark, and seconded by Tom. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Moving on to approval of the minutes. The suggested motion is as follows: that the minutes from the regular Board of Education meeting held on December 20th, 2023 be adopted. Moved by Naomi, seconded by Mark. Any comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Moving on to the Section 72.3 report, the suggested motion is as follows: that the Section 72.3 reports from the closed Board of Education meeting on December 20th, 2023, and the special closed Board of Education meeting on January 17th, 2024 be received. We have a mover. Tom, seconder. Leanne, any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Moving on to announcements and reminders. We have the Education Committee meeting scheduled for February 7th, 2024. Business Committee on February 14th, 2024. Board of Education meeting is the next one is on February 28th, 2024, followed by our Family Day statutory holiday. Actually, sorry, that's before February 28th, February 19th, 2024. And as well, we have non-instructional days on February 5th and 6th, 2024. Moving on to presentations. Welcome, Andrea and team.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and dear trustees. Can you hear me? Do I need to speak here? Yes, boss.
And so you have 10 minutes.
10 minutes, we'll be quick. We are here to continuously thank you for your support. As you know, on behalf of Zonta, Nanaimo Club, and as you know that we are going into our third year event. And we are so ever so grateful that this year we are able to host it at Cedar High. And we probably have the highest turnout of our 3 years. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm Andrea Paris, formerly known Andrea Bankowski, for those of you who know me by my last name. And unfortunately, 2 of our team members couldn't make it tonight. So I'd like to introduce you Lexi Bankowski, my daughter, who is with us for the 3rd year. And we have just Jeffrey Ng, and he is our 4th year practicum student from VIU. And as you know, our mandate is to host an event on human trafficking and sexual exploitation awareness for high school students. And this year, we are hopefully able to get Christian School and also Aspen Grove come and join us at Cedar. We don't know the exact numbers yet, closer to that there. So if you don't know what we do, the background is 3 years ago, we formed this commitment simply because Zonta has an international goal. VIU criminology program has a need for practicum placements, and we decided with a group of people that this would be a great idea where we can marry the practicum to benefit students. And me working here once upon a time, we thought about School District 68 is a good place to work, and we were hoping that it works, and it did. And we have your 3rd year commitment, which we are ever so grateful. But you need to know about the event. It's going to be on February the 22nd. We cordially invite you. In this event, you will have a handful of speakers. It will be all day long at Cedar High. We are providing free lunches for all the students, all staff, support workers, anybody is invited. We are going to provide a Zoom link for anybody who else wants to check in and out all day long. We would really want you to, would love to have you, Chantal, if you could. That would be a great honor. We are also speaking at the city, and we are hoping to spread this awareness. As you know, this is a huge, huge, huge event and a huge topic. Probably some of you heard about the freedom of music. There's lots of, Sound of Freedom, my apologies, Sound of Freedom. It creates a topic and a conversation, which is well needed. As you know, it starts as early as age of 9, the luring of children online. And our focus is going to be mainly and strictly on awareness. We are at no point we'll do any kind of sexual education, nor we'll talk about any sexual preferences. So we just need to put that out up front because our international organization is nonpartisan and we are not about sex education. So why we have here Jeffrey and Lexi? Because they're a crucial part of our organization. So what happens is we work towards to this event, we work on the speakers, we learn public speaking, we're educating the students, and we are bringing awareness to the community. Our goal in 5 years and 10 years to bring Nanaimo to the map. So currently what we don't know while we are silently working, and we are exponentially tell everybody we are partnered with School District 68, Nanaimo is being recognized. There's a group of people in Canada who is working towards to the legislation to be changed, and we are part of it. They are watching us, what we do here. It's in the news, and international Zonta knows, and so is UN. So we are very excited, and we'd like to bring more awareness to Nanaimo, simply because we have so many children, and we are a harboring city, and we also know that the harboring cities is harder to control crime. And we also know that if you don't have awareness, we can't prevent it. So our role is in the awareness prevention, working with your guidance and your help. Ta-da! Quick. So, any questions?
Thank you very much for your presentation. Trustees, are there any questions? Chantal?
You do have a little summary about this.
My apologies to those online at this moment in time. I don't look like mountains with lights, but for some reason my camera is not actually working. It's just the background. But can you see the background at the very least? Yes. Okay. So thank you, Andrea, for your presentation. I know we heard you last year as well, and it was really great, informative presentation, and I'm so glad you're coming to Cedar High to do that. What piqued my interest was the legislation aspect of that. Would you be able to speak to that just a little bit?
Currently Canada does not have a human trafficking legislation,
Okay.
which will find human traffickers guilty.
Okay.
And Cambodia, who worked with Canada, has the prime example how legislation should look, which is quite interesting because Canadian missionaries helped Cambodia to have a really nice human trafficking legislation. So currently there's lots of us lobbying the government, and we do collect signatures, because what happens if I collect 256 signatures, I get 1 minute at Ottawa to speak about human trafficking, and they collect it and they work on it. There's a team of people working with Team Arnold, who was a crucial part of the human trafficking FinTrack form. So when you know FinTrack, when you hear financial investigation, that is part of hers. They realized by checking your financial statements and questions, the human traffickers were using the human trafficking accounts. So that's how they were able to hide it. So she's a crucial component, but unfortunately, for some reason, we still don't have an accepted legislation. There is just none.
Okay. Sorry, could you name that person's name again? I didn't
It's
quite.
Timea Nagy.
Okay.
Nagy. Nagy. Or Nagy in English.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Because I happen to be Hungarian, just like her.
Yes.
So, and
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I appreciate it. And will that information also be in the presentation
So
at Cedar
Timea's
High? Or?
presentation is not there.
Okay.
So what we are focusing on now, how to bring awareness to online, and then we'll have large speakers. We'll have Michael Dunn. We have the Canadian Center for Human Trafficking.
Trafficking.
Lexi is the organizer of the program.
Children of the Street organization from Vancouver. And the Canadian Center to End Human Trafficking. They're doing a virtual presentation from Toronto. That's their main thing.
And our own Tegan Marshall, who is a former student from School District 68, who is also working with Kathy Peters. Kathy Peters sends her regrets. She had an emergency surgery. She won't be speaking, but I do have her book to give you. And I will be donating a book on that day to the Cedar High library with all the signatures, because Kathy is our current BC advocate who received several medals for just taking this event under her wing. I'm learning from her how she does this, because it is extremely important to catch this way too early. I don't know how much you know, but the human trafficking has outdone the drug industry, and it's absolutely scary what you can do online. It runs out of.
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing this
You're welcome.
forward.
I think I will actually pass because I don't know that what I was going to say is relevant, particularly right now.
Two hands went up at the same time. We'll go Tom first this time. Okay, Naomi first this time.
Thanks very much for your presentation. I wanted to just thank you for that, and also just mention that the timing of you doing this presentation, and I think it was yesterday in Congress, Zuckerberg was
Correct. It's going on in London.
yeah, being held accountable, as well as the other big
Correct.
giants in yeah, it was perfect timing.
So the timing is simply February 22nd, because that's what Canada picked. And we were so fortunate enough that you don't have a Prodi Day, you don't have a holiday, and it's not a Friday, okay? Because we learned when we hold an event on Friday, get high school students, impossible, okay? So we are so grateful. We are going to aim every year for February 22nd, Thursday, Wednesday, okay? So mark your calendars, we'll be here next year, and our 5th year is gonna be the bigger year, and the 10th year, hopefully. Yes, absolutely. Zuckerberg has spoke about Twitter and then Instagram, how there's a note now on. You can have a sexual exploitation kind of a note or posting, and it will ask, are you sure you want to do this? This is child pornography. Do you want to get help, or you want to proceed? And now he's being challenged why there's a button to proceed to child pornography. Simple as that. That's why we need to educate our children, right? Next.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Yeah, thank you for coming in.
You're welcome.
Great to see wonderful young minds from your staff. I also want to connect it to the recent, I think it's BC legislation. Now that daily charge civil resolution tribunal, it's very acceptable. People that have been exploited online to where it is either returned or daily fine. Civil resolutions, but handle that directly, but some people get big lawyers. It should be very helpful. Anything's better. I actually just wanted to take a moment and crow about the fact that we've seen, 5 students that thought that really was embarrassing. But it's one
Yes,
and
though, true.
as cover for me bringing attention to that, I wanted to ask you, what's your angle? Like, what is the practical students?
Yeah, I've done a lot in the program. I think a lot has been personal learning in terms of just learning the depth at which different aspects of human trafficking go into, and specifically just how awareness can be spread. More so like how what are important things to share, and what we can share to youth to kind of get the message across. Because I found as someone that when I went to Barnsley, I helped lead the Eco Club, Philosophy Club, and stuff like that. We'd have meetings and we'd talk to students, and they'd also every time it'd be in one ear, out the other ear for a lot of students. So I think a lot has been just kind of figuring out what I can contribute in order to have something that actually sticks with students and something that they'll actually remember leaving the day.
And you've been with the program for a bunch of years now, is that correct?
Yeah, I think
And
this is my
for-
like 4th year with SOTA.
Yeah.
So I'm not a practicum student, but I have really enjoyed helping raise awareness, setting up the event, and getting the speakers, trying to make children involved in all the fun. It's the learning about human trafficking, I guess.
So I guess what happens is through service, we learn leadership skills, we give back to the community, but we both learn. Because we learn every single day, because each year I get a different mindset. Brilliant young people, they think differently than we do, and then they are our future, right? So it's win-win for almost all of us. This is not one of those volunteer where you go, oh, do I want to do another hour? This is like, we get up, it has a purpose, and we serve a lot more people. Like, we can truly make an impact with your hat. Thank you. Thank you again.
Maybe I'll just close us off
Yeah.
by saying, Andrea, thank you so much for your passion and energy, and for our young leaders and taking the step to put in the effort to try and educate our students and affect change. So appreciate the efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. And we are not going to be rude, but we're going to scoot, let you do your business. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so good evening. Moving on in the agenda to item 11, correspondence. 11.1, correspondence from Down Syndrome BC. There's a suggested motion in the agenda package. Is there anyone that'd like to move that motion? Cheta?
Thank you. This motion is as follows, that the Board of Education of School District Number 68, Nanaimo Lady Smith, refer the correspondence from Down Syndrome BC to be received and filed.
We have a seconder. I think I saw Tom first. Go ahead.
It's an odd motivation to motivate something that's going to be filed, but I do want to take a moment to say that while it's filed, it's been read and it's been noted, and I've taken it in, and yeah, I just really appreciate the letter, and I'm glad we got it. And while it might be filed, it's not forgotten.
Thank you. Does anyone else like to speak to the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to 11.2, correspondence from the Minister of Education and Childcare, Rashna Singh. Do we have a trustee like to move motion? Naomi?
That the Board of Education of School District. Yeah. That the Board of Education of School District 68, Nanaimo Lady Smith, refer the correspondence from Rashna Singh, Minister of Education and Childcare, for board chair response.
Thanks, Naomi. Seconded by Mark. Do you want to motivate?
I think it says it right there. I don't need to motivate it.
I'll just speak to the motion myself. If I don't see anybody else's hand up, I'll just say that pleased with the announcement. I think it's great news for Ladysmith. The board will have some work to do, obviously, with trying to move this forward, but just overall very pleased that we're getting support.
Thank you, Chair. And I know that the manner in which the board operates with respect to correspondence, the issue itself is not being discussed this evening. You will see it on the next business agenda, and so the public is aware it's not just thanks for the letter. We're gonna respond to. There's going to be significant amount of discussion in the community board over the coming months.
Thanks, Mark. So I'll call the question then. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Moving on to committee reports. Actually, we don't have a committee report from the Business or Education Committee. So we'll move on to item 13, senior staff reports, 13.1, policy 2.18, trustee remuneration and professional development.
Thank you, Chair. And so this item is coming, as you recall, the board sent it out for public consultation, the draft changes to trustee remuneration and professional development expenses. There was entirely zero feedback from our public, and so the matter did go to the policy committee for review. Obviously, no feedback, so it's coming to the board for consideration. As a reminder, it is providing a couple of pieces of clarification. There is absolutely zero increase to the trustee remuneration. It's just reflecting the automatic changes in inflation that have been in place. So there is a change to the dollar number, but that's just reflecting what it actually is today rather than what it was at the time that its passage. It's also removing a reference to a legacy issue associated that ended at the end of the last board. The change that would impact the board is the way that we would be interpreting some of the professional development language, not changing the amount that trustees are eligible for, but changing the type of options that the trustees would have available to them. And so staff, we interpreted it to say that both the duration of professional development and the types of professional development were limited, and the kind of scope of it limited to education. The changes would now allow trustees to take longer term. So you want to join a course to become a parliamentarian, as an example. It would also allow for things that are not quite education. So theoretically, it could have previously restricted the idea of taking governance training, not probably that we would have, but that's technically how it would have read. And then finally, a mechanism of yearly reporting. So what it was before, it was if you did something, you'd report back the month after you did it. But now it would be a yearly report by trustees. We haven't discussed what, if it passes, what the timing of such would look like, but that's what it would be required. So the public's able to hold trustees accountable for the choices that they make, and that we're transparent in what happens.
Thank you, Mark. Are there any questions? Someone like to move the motion? Tanya?
My camera on. Sorry. Having trouble with there we go. Where am I?
The organization of the Ladysmith adopt the revised policy 2.18 and professional development.
Thank you. Good seconder. Anna, want to motivate the motion?
I think staff is kind of working to make the policy more clear. It's not actually changing any real amounts or anything.
Tanya, anybody else like to speak to the motion? Go ahead, Chantal.
I just want to say thank you to the public. When there's nobody that responds, it's usually because they're not upset about it. And so it actually kind of feels a little bit validating that people agree with the clarifications. And I just really appreciate that because we are trying to be the best trustees we can be, and having access to a wide range of learning opportunities is really, really important to be a better trustee. Thank you. I appreciate it a lot.
Thanks, Chantal. Tom?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I want to thank staff for their work and for their perseverance going through the process, and kind of reiterate or add to what Chantal was just suggesting. I'm currently taking advantage of professional development opportunities through the university. Am I not there? Oh, I'm sorry.
We're going to do a tutorial for everybody.
I'm good. Okay. All right. I'm going to try again. Oh, take two. Yeah. So thank you very much to staff for making this housekeeping change and getting our policies up to a more environmentally accessible and inclusive. Taking advantage of professional development opportunities. It's part of teacher habit. We always do it. We always will. And through you, Vic, I've been able to take a course in governance, which has really helped my time here, in public sector leadership. And currently I'm in a class about strategic planning. So I can't do anything but to just really recommend to my fellow trustees that there's some amazing opportunities out there. And all of this has been online in my basement with world-class professionals teaching me. So I just really take advantage of this new policy, please. It's great for all of us. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Anybody else? Okay, I don't see anybody else. We'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. So we'll move on to item 13.2, policy 2.5, board committee representation and annual work plan.
Great, thank you, Chair. And I'm just going to mention to the policy committee really briefly, you were anticipating seeing transportation come this evening. In reviewing the board motion that sent that to the process, it was actually supposed to come back to business first. So you will see it at the next business committee. That's why you're not seeing it this evening. So with respect to policy 2.5, I will not take the thunder of trustees that are working hard to this board include students, but this is the changes to 2.5 that ensconce our student voice in our policies. So this is the student voice circle, so a change of name to what's been happening with the superintendent's group. And so now it'll be mandated by board policy, still organized quite similarly to the way the superintendent currently hears feedback from our students. And you'll see that there's going to be room for trustees, but it's not intended to overwhelm the students with adults. So it'll be a rotating to give everyone an opportunity to have that interaction and hear what the students say, allowing some latitude and room and agency for students to kind of choose what it's going to look like for them, but as well as the opportunity for the board to actually specifically reach out to students on specific topics and ask their opinion. And I will say, in advance of this passage of this, we're already having conversations about the first thing we're going to come to recommend to the board to send to students. So, it's there for consideration. Again, the feedback relatively minor, but both supportive.
Thanks, Mark. So I just want to also acknowledge Trustee Mark and Tanya and staff for serving on the committee to help get us to the place we are today. Thank you. Are there any comments before we move into motion, or would someone like to read the motion?
Your NDT rep.
Oh, sorry, NDTA rep. Sorry, I didn't want to miss you on that. It was implied, of course, all of the folks who were at the table. I wasn't there personally, so I don't know everybody, but thank you. Tanya?
Let me find the camera button. There we go. Thank you, Chair. That the Board of Education of School District Number 68, the Nanaimo Ladysmith adopt the revised policy 2.5 board committee representation and annual work plan.
That's seconded by Mark. And
Yes, I would love to
please.
motivate. I'm really excited about this. I know that the process that we went through in our last committee meeting with the students to have them see this policy and give us our input on it, they really liked it. We really got it to a point where they felt comfortable that the policy is broad enough that because we've only had 2 students right now, 2 or 3 students so far. We haven't had representation yet from throughout the district, that we've created something that's a really good work framework and yet leaves a decent amount of room for the students from other schools as they come in to also have a role in shaping the process. So I think this is really good work that we've done, and I'm looking forward to seeing it continue. And I admit that I would like to be involved in at least the next meeting and do a transition for the kids, and yeah.
Thanks, Tanya. Anybody else like to speak to the motion? Mark, go ahead.
Yeah.
Supposed to be one of them. I think I got. There we go. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Thank you to staff. Thank you for all the stakeholders that have been involved in this over the last process. Tanya for stepping up and chairing the committee, and Chris was also there. We had I can't possibly name all the staff members. Don Malcolm was there. It was wonderful. When I first brought this to the board last year, I sort of envisioned something simple where a student could be with us at the education meeting or the business education meeting, but it evolved into something quite beautiful in that a number of students can get together. We can hear them in a safer environment. We can digest a lot of their thoughts, bring it back to the board on their behalf. I still have that passion that I would love for some sort of student representation to be at the board. So I do have a small amendment to the motion. If I can make a motion to amend and see what colleagues think about the amendment, which is with regards to there's a change on item 6.3 and for the policy where it mentions, sorry, I had it from here, but I got too many screens and not enough. Too many screens and not enough. I'll give everyone a moment to get to the screen.
Would you like me to read it, Mark? I haven't.
Yeah, could you please? I've got way too many screens open here.
Okay, an annual report will be added to the board work plan for a report from the Student Voice Circle. Additional reports may be added at the initiative of the Student Voice Circle.
Wonderful. Yeah. So an annual report will be added to the board work plan for a report from the Student Voice Circle. What I'd like to add after that to amend it, if I can somehow, I was trying to think of the wording. And I'd like to add 6.3 after Student Voice Circle to add, and a student of the committee shall be invited to bring that report to the board. That leaves an opportunity for, if there are students that are ambitious enough or wish to, they could. So there's that opening. But if they don't feel that they have the confidence, then they don't need to step forward. So there is that opportunity.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion, but before I ask for a second, I want to make sure Karen has the motion, the amendment. So what I have is after That, okay.
I think I've got a wording here, so I'll
I, just before we get too far, I see what Karen is saying. The policy that, sorry, the motion that's suggested is to adopt the policy. What you're suggesting is to amend the policy before we adopt it or adopt it as amended. So one option would be, as Karen says, adopt as amended. The other option would be to have a new motion that would say that the board amend the policy by changing section 6.3 to add, and then insert your words. Pass that one if that's the board's will, and then say adopt the policy as amended.
Sure.
I think that's cleaner because then
Okay.
it's clear on what you want to add.
Cleaner way, you bet.
So you might want to take a minute to think about how you might want to word that. I mean, maybe we can help you put some words together. So Mark, maybe
Got the wording here.
he's really good at that.
Go ahead.
So that the Board of Education of School District number 68, and I'm a Ladysmith, amend draft policy 2.5 6.6.3 to add, and a student of the committee shall be invited to bring the report to the board. Or you can put the full sentence.
No, that's perfect. That's exactly what I have.
And then if the board passes that, then we'll, to your point, still pass the next motion, which would be as amended.
Okay, so before we go too far, is everybody clear on what the motion is? Okay, so Mark, would you like to move that?
Yes, I would like to move that.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Tanya, would you like to speak to that, Mark?
No, I already kind of spoke the rationale and the motivation behind it. It's just to open the door to allow more student participation, which was the initial spirit of what I brought up on the first one.
Okay, any other discussion? Tom?
That's a point of clarification with the wording of the amendment. Instead of being a student, or can we have a student delegation or student representatives, or I'm just nitpicking, but I just don't.
The way it's written, it would be a student. But I'm sure that if more than one wanted to come, we would not say no.
I'll leave it alone.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll call the question on the motion. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, so keep in mind, maybe Mark, I'll go to you if you like. If you'd like to move the second one as amended.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I'll call that to the chair of the committee.
Tanya?
Sorry. That the Board of Education of School District number 68, and I'm a Ladysmith, adopt the revised policy 2.5, board committee representation and annual work plan as amended.
Perfect, thank you. Seconder? Mark? You like to motivate the motion, Tanya?
Well, it was an excellent amendment. I do think that we need to do whatever we can to give students the opportunity to come and actually present to all of us. And I like that we're not requiring to do it, but we're making, inviting and creating the open space for it. So.
Thank you, Tanya. Would anybody else like to speak to the motion? Okay, here, I don't see any, so I'll call the question. Is all in favor? Carried. Perfect. Thanks for bringing that forward, Mark. Moving forward, there's no unfinished business or new business. So item 16 is there for information. We have the board motions report and trustee committee reports. I don't see any questions in the Q&A this evening, so I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Naomi, seconded by Mark. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, everyone.